Hello, 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 hello. Good morning. How are you? Hope you're good. It's so funny, I used to love doing these classes on Facebook and being able to see who was watching. Now I just know there's a few people watching, but I don't know who. So I think I have a feeling I may know probably Sarah there. Um, Welcome. Good morning. Today, open heart, bendy back is the class. So Friday morning, end of the week, I want to really open up the chest, go really wide, work a bit with the heart. It's super super nice weather outside here in Brussels. It's really warm also these days, which I love. It makes it so much easier to warm up. So we'll just work with that, work with the warmth of the weather. So we're already quite limber and easy to get into the body. I would recommend having 2 blocks today for support. Yeah, I got yesterday not yesterday, a few days ago, my boyfriend gave me a yoga wheel. I don't know if you've ever seen one. It's just a round, very simple tool. It's so nice, and I was trying out some stuff with it yesterday. So I'm going to see if I can kind of reproduce the effects of the wheel with the blocks, because I'm assuming people don't have wheels at home. But if you do have a wheel, I'm working on a YouTube video with the wheel. Yeah. Okay. That's it for my blah blah blah. Let's get going. Get yourself organized. And let's start today in a lying down pose. So if you have 2 blocks, put one at the highest level, one either medium or at the lowest level. Let's try it like this. If it's too intense, we can always change the blocks. So sitting right behind your block, lean the edge of the block about where your lowest ribs end. So on the base of your rib cage. And then the other block can go underneath the head. Slightly lower than the first block. And like I said, if this is slightly too much so early in the morning, you can always lower the high block one step lower. Maybe that's quite nice actually. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. Medium height of the middle block and then the lowest height of the low block. And you can let your arms fall open and you can let your knees fall open. So walk your feet a little bit closer in and let your knees fall to the sides. And just rest here for a moment. Let's go. Make sure the block underneath your head is really supporting the base of your skull. So your head is not sliding off. And just breathe here. Breathing into your chest, breathing into your hips. And letting the chest fall open. easy, passive way of starting the day. Letting the shoulder blades slide. So the shoulder blades are sliding a little bit together here, but not because you're making them, just because of the way that this pose is engineered. Chest opening in the front, rib cage flaring out. Now, bring your knees back together and lengthen your legs down. And let your feet fall open with your legs long. Start to slide your hands up along the floor, very slowly, gently. See if you can keep your bottom ribs relaxed, which probably means they're going to stick out a little bit more. Keep sliding the hands up all the way until you can cross just the thumbs. So your palms stay facing up, your thumbs are crossed. And this way you can pull your hands a little bit up, away from you. Opening your shoulders, lengthening your lower belly, middle belly. Soften the back of your neck. Now change the grip of the thumbs. Put the other thumb on top. Same thing, straightening the elbows. Maybe the hands come slightly off the floor here, that's okay. Softening the backs of the ribs. And there, releasing the grip. Let your elbows simply slide down and find the first place where they can release and just hang out there for a moment. From here, step your feet closer to your pelvis. Bring your arms down. Tuck your pelvis up. Reach for the middle block. Just slide it out. Lay your back down. Take the other block out from underneath your head. Take a breath here. Now meet your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers. And then start to lift the head off the floor. Keeping the neck completely passive, so you're using your hands to carry the weight of your head. Very simple little counter stretch. Your ribs might flare out. Breathing deeply into the chest to increase the stretch on the back of the neck. And you can move your head a little bit side to side very easily. Not pulling too hard on your head, just sliding the head a little bit side to side. And bring your head back down to the floor. Lengthen your left leg. Bring your right knee to the chest. clasp your fingers over that knee and just very simply, very easily, this first little hip stretch of the day, let the weight of the hands allow the knee to sink down lower. There's some construction happening outside, so I hope it's not too annoying. I'm hoping the microphone filters it out. So letting the hands, the weight of the hands gently sink the knee closer to your chest. Not pulling on the knee, just letting the hands sink, releasing the shoulder blades down into the floor. Uncurl your tail, lengthen your neck, soften your jaw. And then release that leg down. Changing side, bringing your left knee towards the chest. And once you clasp your fingers, really soften the front of the hip and see if you can let the whole weight of the leg be carried by the hands. You're not holding in the hip or inner thigh to keep the leg in place. You're letting the leg lean into the hands. And you're letting the hands lean into the leg. The weight of the hands falling more and more to the floor. Releasing any resistances in the hip. And especially so early in the morning. Breathing into any tight spots. Allowing the knee to very slowly come closer and closer to your torso. And then gently releasing the knee. Step the foot down onto the floor and join the right foot so your both heels are close to the sitting bones. Take one of your blocks nearby. Zip up your abdominals and start to tuck your pelvis up, rolling your back, rolling, rolling, rolling. And slide your block underneath your lower back. Finding a place where you can balance easily, then let your pelvis rest there. Flaring the ribs out, breathing into the chest. And if you'd like, you can clasp your hands behind the block, opening your shoulders so you can roll your shoulder blades together, straightening the elbows, and then relaxing down into this. Letting the block Support the full weight of your pelvis, letting your chest fall open. Releasing your hands. Let's do the same thing we did just before. So crossing your thumbs, keeping your palms facing the ceiling, bringing your arms all the way up. Lift your rib cage up. From here, if you like, you can press into the feet and lift your pelvis a little bit up higher. A little stretch for the back of the neck. Change the crossing of the thumbs, other thumb on top. And then slide your hands down. Remove the block. Roll your whole spine down, down, down slowly. Vertebra by vertebra. Until your pelvis reaches the floor. And then release the lower back so you have a little bit of space underneath your lower back. Neutral spine. From here, bring both knees into the chest just for a moment. You can clasp your fingers over the knees. Or if it's very easy for you here, you can lift your head and clasp your opposite elbows over the knees. And drop your head back down. See if you can roll your pelvis down to the floor so it's not rolling up. Softening the fronts of the hips exactly like we did before when we did one leg at a time. From here, releasing both your legs down. Now roll over to the right side. Once you're on your right side, press into your left hand to reach the right arm back behind you. Crawling your fingertips to the back wall and pressing with the left hand into the floor to stretch the front of the shoulder. From here, rolling a little bit more towards your belly so you can clasp your hands behind your back, interlacing your fingers, and rolling back to your right side. All the way until your arm reaches the floor, and from there you can press a little bit into the right arm. Maybe rolling your left shoulder a little bit up towards the ceiling. Stretching the front of the right shoulder. Gently releasing that. Release your hands. Roll to the left side now. Starting by pressing a little bit into the right hand so you can slide the left hand behind you. Crawl the fingertips far away from you, then pressing into the left hand. Gently to stretch the front of the shoulder. And from there, roll your chest towards the floor. Clasp both of your hands. You can have the other thumb on top on this side. Then start to roll back to your side. And gently starting to open the right shoulder to the back and to the ceiling. Maybe rolling the head a little bit up. Stretching the front of the right shoulder. Gently release that. Push yourself up. Come to sitting in all fours now. take your 2 blocks, place your elbows on top of the blocks, and then press your hips back. You can keep your toes tucked here. Going to a little child's pose, stretching the shoulders open, bring the hands to prayer behind your neck. Breathing deeply into the shoulders. And if you'd like to increase this stretch, you can walk your elbows closer together behind your head, and you can walk your knees a little bit. Breathing deeply. Keep the hand palms connected. So you stay active in the hand palms and fingers. And then gently walk yourself out of this. Remove the blocks. Let's come to all fours. Spreading your fingers wide, wrists right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips. Tuck your toes. Wrist circles, warming up your wrists. You can feel this also in the shoulder blades. Coming back to the center, pressing down strongly into your hands to lift your knees slightly off the floor. And gently bring the knees back down. As you bring them down, breathe in, arch your back. Breathing out, rounding your back. Breathing in, come to neutral spine. Breathing out, lift your knees off the floor. Breathing in, bring your knees back to the floor and arch your back. Breathing out, rounding the back. Breathing in, come to neutral spine. Breathing out, lift up your knees, zip up the abdominals, press between the shoulder blades. Breathing in, bring your knees back to the floor, arch your back. And breathing out, rounding the back. Come back to neutral spine, untuck your toes. Now lift your right arm up to the ceiling. And then thread the needle, stick the arm down underneath the left. Press into the left hand. Look up at the ceiling. From there, roll your right cheek to the floor. Walk your left fingertips up and then start reaching them back behind your head. Really use those fingertips to walk the hand as far out as possible. Then flatten the palm on the floor. Spread your fingers from here. If your hips came a bit out of alignment, push them a little bit back to the right. Stretching the left shoulder here. Maybe turning the head up to face the ceiling. Breathe to the space between your shoulder blades. slide your hand back next to your face. Now walk your knees backwards, come to it's lying on your belly, on top of your right hand. Relax your left arm on top of the right. Breathing. And you can increase the stretch here by shifting your hips over to the left, releasing your right knee up. So bending the right knee, placing the knee somewhere next to the hip, then sinking your hip down, releasing the weight. Soften your belly button. Just relaxing here. Deep stretch for the right shoulder. And then gently releasing that leg down. Bring your left arm, hand next to your face. Slide the right arm underneath the shoulder. Keep your knees on the floor. Press yourself back up into all fours, untucking the toes, spreading the fingers. As you breathe in, lifting the left arm up to the ceiling. And then threading the needle, stick that arm underneath the right. Place your right cheek on the floor, then press into the right hand to roll your head up towards the ceiling, twisting your back. From there, rolling the left cheek back down. Now crawl your right fingertips up and start to reach them up and over your head, so they're crawling towards the left, really as far out of the socket as you can walk that hand. Then flatten the palms, spread your fingers, and start to press your hips back into alignment so they come a little bit back into the left. Maybe rolling your face up to the ceiling, looking underneath your armpit. Breathing here. And from there, roll your cheek back down, slide the right hand next to the face, start to walk your knees backwards one by one, all the way until you're lying on your belly, on top of the left arm. Relax the right arm on top of the left, softening the shoulders, softening the neck and the jaw. Letting gravity do what it does best. No resistance, just relax. And from here, if you'd like to deepen a little bit, slide your hips slightly to the right, to release your left knee, to slide that up next to the left hip, releasing the weight of the left hip into the floor, increasing the stretch on the left shoulder. And then gently coming out of that, slide the left leg back down. Bring the right hand next to the face, slide the left hand underneath you. Tuck your toes, keep your knees bent, push yourself back to all fours. Now come to sitting on your heels, your toes are tucked, facing all your toes forward. You can use your fingers to do that. For a moment, place your hands in front of you. Press down into the hands to lift the knees slightly off the floor. Stretching the Achilles, stretching the soles of the feet. Then release the knees back down, walk your hands back, sit on top of your heels. Place your hand palms on top of your hips, on the fronts of your thighs, and just press down a few times. Pressing a little bit more weight into the soles of the feet and releasing the fronts of the hips. And from there, you can walk your hands a little bit more back. Keep your fingertips facing forward, roll your shoulder blades together, open the chest. And you can drop your head back if this is comfortable for your neck. Pressing down into the fingertips. Walk yourself back up. Hands next to knees. Push your knees up, come into a little ball. And this may just be my favorite position of all. It's so simple and so effective. Perfect equilibrium between the hands and the feet. Dropping your head, lengthening your whole spine. And letting your shoulder blades slide down your back to the sides. So envisioning opening up the space between the shoulder blades and your shoulder blades sliding down and sideways. Almost as if they could slide completely off your back in the direction of your upper arms. And as you open the back between the shoulder blades, open also the heart space. We often think of the heart as in the front. We can also project out of the heart through the back. So opening up between the shoulder blades, opening the heart to whatever lies behind us. Softening the chest, softening the jaw, softening the hips. And then gently walk your hands a little bit closer, start straightening your legs. You don't have to straighten the knees all the way. Lift your sit bones up at the ceiling, drape your torso down your legs. Base ribs are connected to the tops of your thighs. Then reach your hands behind you. Clasp the fingers, straighten the elbows, drop the hands behind the head. Releasing your neck. Keeping the knees a little bit bent here, but lifting the sit bones up at the ceiling. Bring your hands back to your lower back. Now change the grip, so bring your other thumb on top. Straightening the elbows, dropping the hands behind you. One more time. Softening the jaw, softening the back of the neck, softening the chest. From here, bringing your hands back to your lower back. Release the clasp. Hands come back to the floor. Bend your knees a little bit deeper. Roll yourself all the way up slowly. Rolling through each and every vertebra. all the way to standing. Bring your hands to prayer. Drop your chin to your chest. Keep your hands in prayer. Lift your head and lift your whole sternum up and very gently drop your head to the back and open your chest to the ceiling. So we're not back bending here. We're just lifting the chest up to the ceiling. The lower back stays the same. Let's repeat that. Coming back to the center with your head and drop your chin to your chest. Mobility of the upper spine. So from right between the shoulder blades, you're bending your neck down. Then from right between the shoulder blades, lift your head up. Lift your sternum and your rib cage up, and then bend just the top of your spine. If your neck hurts when you drop the head back, just keep the back of the neck long. But if it's comfortable for you, you can drop your head. Keep the whole lower back exactly the same, bending from between the shoulder blades, only the very top of the spine bending back. From there, gently coming back to the center. Open your arms down, open the palms to the front. Standing up tall, breathe in, bring your hands up overhead. Breathing out, swan diving down. You can bend your knees a little bit if necessary. Breathing in, coming halfway up. And breathe out, spread your hands on the floor and walk your feet into a plank pose. Now in this plank, same idea. Lifting up the heart space between the shoulder blades, so you're not hanging down in your shoulders, you're pressing into the hands and letting those shoulder blades slide down the back on either side. A lot of space between the shoulder blades, projecting the heart up towards the ceiling. From here, bring your knees down to the floor. Then bring your chin and your chest down to the floor. So start by tucking your pelvis, tipping your sit bones up, bending your elbows, keeping the hips facing up, keeping the sit bones facing up. Small back bend here. From here, see if you can straighten the knees so your toes are still tucked. Straightening both your knees, lifting your hips up even higher. Then bend your knees back down. Slide your chest forward. Untuck the toes, come into a little cobra. From here, reach your hands behind your back. Clasp the fingers. Pull your arms back behind you. Straightening through the elbows. On your next in-breath, take your chin up and look up at the ceiling. Then gently slide yourself down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes. Keep the knees on the floor, press yourself up. Then press the hips back into a little active child's pose with the toes tucked under. You can walk your hands a little further forward to increase the stretch underneath the armpits. And from there, shift the weight forward into the hands and come into a downward dog. First downward dog of the day, you can walk out your feet. Shake out your shoulders and your hips a bit, your head. And take one of your blocks and see if you can find a way to support your head on the block. For me, I put it on the middle level. Maybe for you, it needs to be on a lower or higher level. Just try it out and just release the forehead onto the block. taking a little bit of the weight out of the hands. From here, lifting your right leg up parallel. Keeping the weight evenly divided between the two shoulders. You can feel that very clearly with the block underneath the head. Bring the right leg back down. Bring the left leg up. Same thing here. Keep pressing strongly down into the left hand. The leg comes up parallel, not too high. Gently bring that leg back down. Bring your knees to the floor. Come into a little child's pose with the forehead still on the block. Quite a nice way to release the back of the neck here. Letting the block press into the top of the bridge of your nose. Now, remove the block. Come back into your downward facing dog. Imagine you still have that block underneath your forehead. Lift the right leg up. This time you can open up the hip. Keep the weight even between your two hands. Bend the knee. Lift the knee up a little bit higher. And then roll the knee towards the chest and weight forward with footsteps between the hands. Bring your left knee down to the floor. For a moment, drop your head down, lean your right armpit in front of your right knee. Let your belly hang out here. Then zip up your abdominals, pull your belly button towards the spine. Roll yourself up, bring your hands to your right knee. Sink your hips down lower, make sure your shin is perpendicular to the floor. Hips floating, your ribs floating away from your hips sinking down lower. From here, take that same grip where the palms are facing forward and the thumbs are crossing. Bring your arms overhead, breathe in. Lift your arms up higher, your shoulders can come up, and then take a small back bend here. Dropping your head if it feels good. Come slightly up, change the thumb grip, other thumb on top. Repeat the same thing, so breathing in, lift your arms higher up overhead and then gently bending back. Using the thumbs to pull on each other. Gently bring your arms back down. Come into prayer. Step down strongly into your right foot to lift the left knee off the floor. Then breathe in. Lift your sternum up. Twist over to the right. Place the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Twisting your spine. From there, gently untwist. Bring your hands next to your foot. Step the foot into plank. Same thing here. The heart reaching up through the shoulder blades, opening up the space between the shoulder blades. Then bring your knees to the floor. keeping your pelvis up, bend your elbows, bring your chin, your chest to the floor. And walk your knees a little bit closer in. Now your throat is really on the floor. See if you can straighten both legs from here. Your hands are spread on the floor right between your shoulders. Dropping your knees back down now. Straighten only your right leg. See if you can lift it up. Pointing the foot at the top. Gently bringing that leg back down. Walk the knee back in. Now lifting the left knee. First just the knee, then lifting the whole leg up, up, up. Pointing through the foot. Gently bringing it all the way back down. Flex the foot, bring the knee down. Now slide yourself forward. Come into another little cobra. Your base ribs are just lifting off the floor. Now slide your hands forward. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. Spread your hands and pull from your fingertips, pulling your sternum through the rib cage. Sliding your shoulder blades down the back. Maybe lifting your chin up. This is Sphinx pose. Really clear here to feel how the pulling on the hands increases the space between the hips and the ribs. So really lengthening your lower back, pulling your elbows down into the floor, opening the top of your back. From here you can press, actually from here, open up your hands a little bit to the side so they get a bit wider than your shoulders. And from there, press down into the hands. Low seal pose. Only if you want to increase, you can gently walk your hands a little bit further back. Pointing your fingers outwards just gives a bit of a different stretch on the shoulders. And gently bending your elbows. Roll your torso back down. Place your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck the toes. Keep the knees on the floor. Press yourself into all fours. From there, into plank. From there, into downward dog. Now, two options. You can place the block again underneath your head, like we did before. Maybe you can even go a level lower than before. Walking your hands slightly more forward. The other option you can try is placing the block underneath your chest. Now it's a little bit searching here for the right pose. If it's not high enough, you can use the two blocks, one on the lowest and one on the next, the one on top on the shortest side and the one underneath on the lowest side. Seeing what that does, seeing if you can really lean your chest into the blocks, finding a little supported downward dog. And from there, bending your knees down. You can keep your chest or head on the block for a moment. Let yourself hang down from the blocks. If the blocks are underneath your chest, Really melt your chest down, soften your chest onto the block. On every out breath, soften your heart. And from here, if the block is underneath your head, I recommend placing it under your chest, walking your knees a little bit in closer. You can keep your toes tucked now. Bring your hands behind your back, clasp the fingers, drop the hands behind your back. And lower your arms a little bit, change the grip, place the other thumb on top. And re-stretching the arms back behind you. Kind of a supported rabbit pose here with the hands behind the back. Gently releasing the arms. Remove the blocks. Come back into your downward dog. Imagine you still have the blocks underneath your chest and underneath your head. So the weight of your torso is not so heavy. Your arms are not working so hard, not lifting your left leg up. You can open the hip. Keep the weight evenly divided between your two hands. Drop the left foot. Ceiling. Roll the weight forward, knee to the chest. Step the foot between the hands. Drop the right knee. Lean the left armpit on top of the left thigh for a moment. The left shin is perpendicular to the floor. The ankle right underneath the knee. Let your belly hang out. Release your head. Release the space between your shoulder blades. Reaching your heart up through the back. And zip up your abdominals. Really look at the belly as you pull it into the spine. Walk your hands up your knee. Slide the hips down lower as you reach your rib cage up and away. From here, cross your thumbs, keep your palms facing forward. Bring your arms up above your head. Breathe in, lifting the shoulders, lifting the hands more to the ceiling, and then gently bending back. Pulling your arms back behind you using the thumbs. You come back, slightly change the grip of the thumbs so your arms are still above your head. Breathing in again, lifting the arms up to move back. Keeping the elbows straight as possible. And gently coming out of this, bring your hands in front of your chest in prayer. Stepping down strongly into the left foot to straighten the right knee. Lifting the sternum up to twist over to the left. Right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Right heel Reaching back, press down into your left hand. Twist your spine, twist, twist, twist. And then gently uncurling, untwisting, bring your hands back next to your foot. Slip back into plank. Now you can use long, going down into chaturanga. Slide yourself forward, coming into upward dog. And press yourself back into downward dog. And from here, look up at your hands. Start walking your feet forward, coming halfway up, all the way down, and bending your knees. Roll yourself up. Standing tall. Place your feet together, balls of the feet and the heels connected. Breathing in, lift your arms up overhead, clasp the fingers, releasing the index fingers. Now as you breathe in, lift your hands up higher, higher, higher. Your shoulders can come up. And from there, bending gently down over to the right. Keeping your hips and shoulders both evenly facing forward, so you're not twisting. Gently coming down lower and lower, sticking your left hip out towards the left. Bring your right shoulder a little bit forward and your left shoulder a little bit back and up. And gently coming back up. Release your hands now. Reclasp the fingers with the other thumb on top. Release the index fingers. Breathe in. Reach your hands up high. Your shoulders are coming up. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, reaching over to the left. Pulling on your right hand with the left. Stick your right hip further out to the right. Bring your left hip forward and your right shoulder a little bit back. Keep breathing. Gently coming out of this. Release the hands, release the arms. Place your hands now on your lower back. Step your feet hip width distance again. Your fingers are pointing down. So we're going to start this exactly like we did the tiny little upper back bend before. And then we'll slowly move a bit down the back. So as you breathe in, lifting your sternum up at the ceiling, the whole rib cage moving away from the hips. Your elbows are starting to point back. You're opening your chest already here. Shoulder blades rolling together. Start by lifting the chest and dropping the head down. So now there's still no change in the lower back. From here, you start to push your hips forward. Keep your chest reaching up and your elbows pulling away from you to the back wall. So you're bending the whole spine from a place of length. You keep reaching your sternum up and away from the hips. Not collapsing into the lower back, but making a very long, long, long spine. And gently rolling yourself back up. From here, release the hands, drop your chin to your chest. Start rolling your head forward, 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 coming all the way into forward fold. You can bend your knees here and then step your feet onto your hand palms. So the hand palms are facing up, fingertips facing to the back. Stepping your soles of your feet onto the palms of your hands. Bending your knees as much as you need to get a connection between the belly and the upper thighs. From there, slide your shoulders down the back away from the ears. Maybe slowly start to straighten your legs. They don't have to straighten all the way. Tip your sit bones up, so step the weight a little bit more forward onto the feet. Tipping the sit bones up, maybe bending the elbows in towards the shins. Drop your head. And only straightening the knees if you can keep a connection between the lower belly and the upper thighs. From there, gently bending the knees, release the hands. Bend the knees and roll yourself all the way back up. We'll repeat our back bend. So if the one before was already quite intense, you can repeat the same. Actually, let's all start the same way. So placing your hands on your lower back, lifting your sternum up and away, open the chest already here, so bringing your shoulder blades together, pointing your elbows back behind you. Breathing in, lift your ribcage up and away, then drop your head back. Start to bend back with a lot of length, not hanging in the lower back. Keep lengthening the back out and away from the legs. Keep the knees straight. From here, if you'd like to intensify, release the grip of the hands. Keep the length of the back. Bring the hands first to prayer in front of the chest. From there, clasping your fingers, release the index fingers. Point your index fingers first at the ceiling, then breathe in. Lift your arms more and bring them all the way up and overhead. Gently bending back, press your hips forward, keep straightening the knees, keep lengthening the back, keep pushing your chest up. Gently coming all the way back up, bring your hands back to prayer. Drop your chin to your chest. From there, bring your hands down by your sides. Lift your head, breathing in. Bring your arms up overhead. As you breathe out, swan diving down. Breathing in, come halfway up. Spreading your hands as you breathe out. Step or jump back into plank. Chaturanga down. Upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog with an optional extra push-up there. Take 3 deep breaths in your downward dog, lengthening your heels far away from you, sticking your sit bones up at the ceiling. And then shifting the weight into the right foot. Shift the weight into the left foot. Start bringing your right foot up, opening the hip, reaching your foot far away from your hip, bending the knee. Then start bringing the foot down behind you, coming into your wild thing. Lifting the right hand, opening the chest. Gently reversing the direction. Come back exactly the same way you came in. Stick your right leg up at the ceiling, drop your head, soften the neck. Then bring your knee into the chest, roll the weight forward. Step between the hands, float your arms up into warrior one. Now open up into warrior two, staying down low with your pelvis, right thigh parallel with the floor. outside of the left foot, strongly rooting down into the floor, left knee straight. From here, straighten your front knee. Bring your hands to your hip. Twist your torso more to the left wall. Bring your left arm up, breathing in. Bring your hand up higher. Keep your hips even so you're not sticking your sit bones out. Bending over to the right side. Gently changing sides here. Left hand on your hip, right arm coming up. Breathe in, lift the arm up higher. Bending over to the left side and really keep pressing your right hip down. So you're making one long line between the right hip and the right middle finger. Dropping your head. Coming back up. Move your arms back to either side. Now reach forward with the right hand. Place it on top of your right ankle or shin, coming into your triangle pose. Looking up at your left hand. And look down at your right hand. Bring your arms back up. Let's come back to your warrior two. Sinking down into your right hip. From here, twist everything forward. Lift the left heel up. Bring both of your arms back up into warrior one. Now sink your left heel down. Twisting, open to the right, so the left arm comes forward, right arm comes back. Now press a little bit into your left foot. Start reaching your right hand behind you for the left heel. Once you reach the heel, or if it's not possible to reach the heel, you can also grab onto the calf muscle. Once you reach the heel, bring your left arm up, focus forward. Then flip the left palm to the right wall, bending your back, leaning all the way back. Drop your head if it feels alright to you. Gently, gently, carefully coming out of this. Bring your hands to prayer in front of your chest. Sink your hips down low. From here, draping your torso over your right leg. Drop your head. Let your belly flop out. You're pulling your belly in. Straighten the left leg. Lengthen your back. Look forward. Step your right foot into plank. Big space between the shoulder blades. Spread out fingers. Heels reaching backwards. Chaturanga down. Upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. Imagine your chest being supported by some blocks. From here, shifting the weight into the right foot, lift the left leg up, reach it out, up and away from your really long left leg, pointing through the foot, opening the hip, keeping the weight evenly divided. Soften the back of your neck. Soft gaze somewhere on the inside of your right knee. Drop the left foot down. lift the knee up higher and then start to shift the weight forward into the right hand, dropping the left foot towards the floor, coming into your into your wild thing, opening the chest up, pressing the hips up. From there, reversing your steps, coming back to exactly the same way you came in, sticking your left foot up at the ceiling, then bending the knee, roll the weight forward, step the foot between the hands, come right away into warrior one, sinking your hips down low. From there, open up to warrior two, keep the hips low, lengthen your arms, hands pulling far away from you, left thigh parallel with the floor. Right outside of the foot, pressing down. From here, straightening your left leg. Bring both hands to your hips and twist your torso and your face to the right. Now lifting your right arm up. As you breathe in, lift the hand up even higher. Now keep the hips where they are, so don't tip them. Leaning over to the left. Using your left hand for support. Keep straightening through your legs. Gently going back up, changing sides. Left hand on the right hand on the hip, left hand up. Breathing in, lift the hand even higher and then bending over to the right, keeping the left hip exactly where it was. One long line from the left hip all the way to the left middle finger. Gently coming back, lengthen your arms to either side, look forward over your left arm. Now reach forward with that hand, come into your triangle pose. Looking up at your right hand, reaching all your limbs far out of the center. From here, look down at your left hand. Come back up with both arms and bend your left knee. Coming back into your warrior two. From here, twisting everything to the front. Arms come up, right heel comes up, right hip comes forward. Sinking your hips lower than bending the right knee down. Now twisting yourself open to the left. Right arm comes forward, left arm comes back. Press down into your left foot to reach the left hand back towards the right heel. If it's very hard to grab, you can walk your left foot a little bit closer in. Tricky balance here. Once you grab onto the side of the heel, bring your focus back forward, flip your palm, the right palm to the left side. Bring that arm all the way up and over to behind you. Take your time here to open the chest to the ceiling. Surrender. Super gently, easily bring yourself back up. Bring your hands to prayer. Sink your hips all the way down and forward. Then open your hands, drape your torso over your left leg, release the belly, drop the head. Pull your belly button in. Lengthen your back. Take your head a little bit up and straighten the right leg. Step the left leg back into plank. Space between the shoulder blades. Chaturanga down. Upward facing dog. Let's go into child's pose. You can open your knees a little bit wider. Drop your head to the mat. Let your elbows sink down. Breathing into your heart space. Gently come into all fours. Close your knees back to parallel. And step your right foot on the outside of your right hand. Let's come into the lizard pose here, stretching out the hips. Let your hips sink down. And gently you can start to work your elbows towards the floor. You can use a block here either underneath your elbows or underneath your head. Quite nice to let the forehead rest on a block. Softening into the left front of the hip and the right hamstring. From here, open up your right toes towards the side wall. Sinking a little bit lower into those hips. Then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Left hand directly underneath the left shoulder. Keep your right toes pointing a little bit out. Reach behind your back with your right hand. Bend your left knee. Grab the top of your foot. Keep sinking your hips down lower. Keep bringing your left heel closer to the left sit bone. Twisting your chest open towards the right side. Sinking your hips a little bit lower on every out breath. Gently release. Tuck the left toes. Bring the weight back. Step the right knee back next to the left. Then changing sides, bring your left foot on the outside of your left wrist. Sink your hips down lower. You can untuck the right toes, then gently start to work your elbows towards the floor or towards a block. Leaning your head on a block if it feels good to you.
And as your foot is parallel, keep pressing a little bit down into the ball of the foot so your foot stays flat. Releasing the belly. And from here you can lift the ball of the foot and open the toes a bit to the left side wall. Letting your knee react so your knee can fall a little bit open. Softening the front of your right thigh. Stretching deeply to the left hamstrings. And from there, put weight back into your hands. Place your right hand below the right shoulder. Reach your left hand behind your back, then bending the right knee. Grab the top of the right foot. From there, keep sinking your hips down lower. Twisting your torso open to the left side. Keep reaching the right sit bone closer to the right heel. Gently releasing that. Bring your hands back down. Tuck your right toe. Walk your right knee a little bit in. Bring your left knee back next to the right. Do one round of cat-cow. Breathing out, rounding your back. Breathing in. Arching, arching, arching. And then we'll come to lying on our backs with the block underneath our back. So this time let's try to use the highest level of the block and place it a little bit lower down the back so it's on the middle back, and we want to place our heads on the floor. So find the position of the block. Where your head can be on the floor. Maybe your pelvis can be off the floor actually. Okay, I'm just trying this out, so I'm not sure how it works yet. The block has to be a little bit closer to the head, but we want the head to be on the floor. So the pelvis can be up a little bit. Start by keeping your hips sinking down and your head sinking down. From here, start to reach your hands behind your head. Walk your hands closer in towards the shoulder and reach your elbows back and away from you towards the mat. And actually, I think it works better when the block is a little bit close. So place the rock the head back. The feet a little bit closer in, so your hips are off the floor. From here, you're closer towards the back. Reaching your elbows up and back towards the mat. Now, press down into your feet so your floor. Gently coming out of this. Let's do that a few times without the block. So if the block helps, you can use it. Sorry, I know I'm not being super clear. I'm trying this out. So you can either go without the block into the same position. So we're trying to get the elbow to the floor behind us. So we can do it like this. Starting on the back, walk your fingertips as far as possible underneath your shoulder blades. So your fingertips are pointing towards your feet. From there, pressing your pelvis up, start rolling over your head until the top of your head is on the floor. And just breathe there. Breathe into the shoulders. Now the thing that's happening with me is that my hands are sliding in closer together behind my shoulders, and I want to avoid that. So let's try something here. Let's try to put the block actually on the flattest side with the short side facing down. So the narrow side of the block is going to be between the shoulder blades. And then, so right now, the base of my skull is just leaning on the tip of on the end of the block. Now let's try to do the same thing we just did. Walking the hands towards the backs of the shoulders, but keeping the block between the hands so that they cannot slide closer together. From there, lifting the pelvis up, bringing the elbows down to the floor, rolling over the head. Yeah, this works. Now the block is keeping my hands from sliding in. Gently coming out of this. It's quite intense here. Okay. Let's do one more preparation before we go into the Kapotasana. So place the block again now on the high end. Keep your knees up. Make sure you're leaning securely so the block now is right underneath my shoulder blades, and grab your opposite elbows. Hold them behind you. And just lean yourself back, opening the chest. And gently coming back out of this. And then change the grip of your arms. So put the other arm on top, same thing. Start lifting your arms up behind your head. And then just dropping yourself down, releasing your shoulders. Soften your jaw. Gently bring your arms back up. Roll yourself back up. Take a moment here to round your back, hug your knees, drop your forehead to your knees. Make your back as round as possible. You can walk your feet closer in. And you can use your knees to pull a little bit into your elbows, rounding your back even more. Okay, then now we take the two blocks, place one of them on the lowest end and one of them on the highest end. Come to sitting on your knees. Place your pelvis right in front of the blocks. And slide your feet a little bit out so your hips are sinking to the floor between your heels if you can. If this is not yet available to you, you can open your knees a little bit wider. And if even then you cannot yet bend your knees so deeply, you can just stay here and press a little bit down with your hands. And really, as more as you do this, slowly your hips will come down. So if you're at a point where you cannot yet sit down between your knees, really make sure you just stay here and you play with the weight on the fingertips, on the hands. And you try to gently drop your hips down. And that can be your challenge for today. If you're comfortable here, sitting between your hips, lift your chest up. You can use your hands on top of the blocks here to help yourself lift up and to make sure your blocks are in the right position. You don't want them to tip over. It can be a little bit tricky. Reaching back, leaning back. Onto the blocks, dropping your head back. Opening your arms. From here, if you want to intensify, you can start to slide your hands gently up towards your head. More and more. Maybe all the way till they come off the floor. Then you take that same grip with one thumb on top of the other. Reach back with your arms. And then coming gently up, changing the grip of the thumb. Same thing, stretching the arms out away from you, dropping them. Gently releasing. Press yourself back up. Round your chin to your chest. Just round your back for a moment. Rounding back up, remove the blocks. Now let's come, staying in the same position with the legs. Come to your elbows. Take a moment there. If this is intense enough, stay here. If you're comfortable, sliding down to your back. From there, if you're comfortable, grab your opposite elbows and bring them behind your head. Choosing the stage of this position that's suitable for you. So if this is enough, stay here. If you'd like, we're now going to try to walk our hands behind our shoulder blades, exactly like what we did before with the block. And then we'll lift the pelvis up and walk the hands towards the feet. So if you'd like to try that, start by bringing your hands underneath your shoulders with the fingertips pointing back. From there, lift your head and bring it to leaning on the top of the head. And start to tuck your pelvis under. And walk your head closer to your feet and walk your hands closer to your feet.
And from there, you can keep lifting and walking, seeing if you can bring your elbows closer and closer to the floor. Maybe touching your toes with your fingertips. And once you've had enough, gently come back out of this. Press your elbows down into the floor to bring yourself all the way up. Let's come to our little ball position, tucking your toes, rounding your back. Very easily, slowly moving into this big counter stretch from what we just did. From here, let's do this Kapotasana one more time. Often the second time around with this kind of difficult poses, they can be suddenly easier. The body understands where to go. So same exact thing, sit your hips down between your heels. Walking back, leaning on your elbows for a moment. From there, drop your head back. Go straight into it from here, so right away. Placing the back of your head, the top of your head on the floor. Bringing your hands next to your head. Walking them in close and pressing up. Press your pelvis up. Bring your head closer to your feet. Walk your hands closer to your feet. And that way you can keep progressing, keep pressing your head up, bringing it closer, walking your hands closer. Pressing your pelvis up. And when you've had enough, gently slide yourself out of it. Press down into your elbows to come all the way back up. Let's come again into that little ball, counter stretch. Dropping the head. Yeah, and from here, let's finish the class the same way we started. Taking your 2 blocks, choosing the levels that are right for you. I'm going to put them, the middle one on the middle level, underneath the base of my ribs. And then the top one on the lowest level, underneath my head, underneath the base of my skull. Bringing my feet soles together, my heels close to my sitting bones. Letting my knees fall open, letting my arms fall open to the sides.
letting the shoulder blades slide together behind the spine because of gravity. Breathing deeply, releasing the inner thighs, releasing the hips, releasing the chest, and the shoulders and the jaw. On every out breath, sinking a little bit lower, closer to the floor. And you can stay here with your knees falling open, or you can bring your knees up to lengthen your legs. And maybe taking the blocks out from underneath your back. Very gently and slowly coming into simple Shavasana. Feet falling open, palms to the ceiling. Your whole back sinking down to the floor. Softly melting. And bring your awareness back to your heart space. Especially to the heart space in the back. Allowing your shoulder blades to be soft and open. And your heart to project outwardly through the back and through the front. Opening doors on both sides. On all sides, as if your heart has many, many, many doors all around 360. Opening thousands of tiny little doors. So your heart's energy can flow out, and at the same time the doors are open for outside energies to flow in. Always exchanging between in and out, in and out. Soft chest, soft rib cage, soft spine, soft shoulder blades. Releasing your weight down into the floor.
And you can stay here as long as you like. I want to thank you for joining today. If you are enjoying the classes, you're more than welcome to support by following, liking, and subscribing. And also, you can support financially if you wish, if you can. All the information is in the description of this video. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Make sure you drink a lot of water after all these back bends. And I will post my teaching schedule for next week later today on my Facebook group, Yoga with Manou. So I hope to see you again next week. Have a beautiful day. Bye.